Free speech is saved.
You are now tuned into Leak Spec. So the world's biggest billionaire with $44 billion has gone...
Hang on. Before you get any farther into this, I've noticed how we have a lot of views, but not as many subscribers. What's up with that? Y'all need to smash that button right there and subscribe to us, please. All right, now back to our regular programming.
Okay, thank you very much for that. You are correct, Michael Lee.
An excellent point.
I would like to reach the goal of 5-timesing our current subscriber list so we can actually get a custom URL for our YouTube. That would be nice. And then we could all join in at the Leak Spec on YouTube.
Help us out.
Before I was so nicely interrupted by my friend Michael Lee.
There's a little bit of justice, really, if you think about it.
How's it feel? Sorry.
We recently have a new ownership by a African-American man of the Twitters with his $44 billion. Yes, Michael, he's African-American.
Is that his lunch money he spent on
Hold up a second. My mind's blown. What?
Yeah, he was born in South Africa, and he's an American citizen. Facts.
Wow.
Facts.
Okay, we're going to put a pin in that one. But anyways, continue.
he may have
I
some
didn't say he
thoughts.
was black.
He may have some thoughts on that later.
No. So, you guys, what do you think about private ownership of Twitter? You guys down with the private ownership and Elon Musk owning it? You know, he's the Twitter troll.
Well, let me be the first to say that I don't give a crap who owns Twitter. Why did he do this? What do you think is the purpose of this?
Yeah. Well, just before we roll into that, I'm going to tell you guys.
No, answer my question.
Yeah, I will. Censorship is the short answer, but I'm going to tell you guys. I recently signed up for Twitter.
Under duress.
Yeah, basically. Yes, thank you. I know. You can all go down, follow me at Extreme Razor, and I'll link it down the bottom. But
he only complained a little bit.
I got on the Twitters, and I started doing that tweeting. I mean, I was on there once before, like whenever it started, and I said, this platform is complete crap. And recently, I just noticed after many years that basically this platform is for trolling.
I was going to say it is complete crap.
Well, it still is, but it's mostly for highlighting my witty and not so witty sarcastic comments.
And how's that working out for you?
I got one of my tweets liked, you guys. Yeah, I'm gonna read my new Twitter.
Listen,
So happy about that.
Be honest. Was it your mom?
Oh, she doesn't know how to use Twitter. Sorry, Mom. But yeah, I recently said this tweet yesterday. You'll like this one, Adam. It's a funny one. Will there be new Twitter features that can only be paid for with Doge? That is my question to Elon Musk because, you know, he loves that Doge cryptocurrency as well.
What about SHIB? Why stop at Doge when we could do it with SHIB?
Yeah, well, that's my next question. I think after I answer your question, which is, why did he buy Twitter, you guys? Well, you know what? They recently blocked the Babylon Bee for their sarcastic humor as being hate speech, and a lot of people have been blocked recently, and we're seeing a new pattern on Twitter, a lot more
censorship,
right-lined. Yeah, but I'm saying, but in the very recent days since the announcement of ownership by Elon Musk, we've been seeing more conservative and right-minded people getting more followers, and some of the left-leaning influencers on that platform losing followers. So there is a little bit of a changeover with the rest of the political spectrum coming back into embracing Twitter, and that is the notion that we are likely to see with Twitter, because censorship was the main issue with all of these platforms. If you look in our playlists down below, even YouTube censored one of our videos simply where we criticized. It wasn't
masking or something.
It wasn't mask wearing or anything. It was a ridiculous scientific notion about one-way masking. It was just a ridiculous criticism we had on that.
It was an odd interpretation of it, but let's not make that about this. We don't need this one to be banned as well.
We're talking about censorship though. YouTube has a specific set of things we cannot specifically talk about, and this is all kind of stuff that you would be talking about with your friends at work or your family at home, and you're not censored. And you know what? Why not have these open conversations? Just have maybe a little disclaimer in the beginning of a video saying, hey, these are people's opinions, they're not facts, and then go from there. Why do we need to worry about censoring everything that people don't agree with?
So he bought Twitter to save free speech by getting rid of censorship? Is that what we think?
Not completely, but to lessen the censorship, yes. That is probably what he's going to do.
Presumably there'll be some sort of censorship, though.
Yeah, there's always a little bit of censorship. You're obviously not going to do anything illegal and anything completely hurtful.
Right.
That's all going to still be censored. But I mean, you shouldn't censor somebody for making a sarcastic comment. If Michael Lee wants to make a sarcastic comment about me, and I could take it as being hurtful, should that comment be allowed or not?
It should be. Especially if he's making it about you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you cry.
Yeah, well,
sorry.
You want to start a Twitter battle? Let's do it.
Twitter battle.
Yeah, we're gonna tweet at each other.
Sorry.
A twaddle?
Twaddle?
Is that a bad word? I don't know. We better
we'll probably get banned.
maybe bleep that out just in case. But yeah, anyways, he does have some other plans for Twitter that he briefly outlined, and it's a little vague. But he is gonna improve it with some new features. I think we mentioned a couple already.
The edit button.
Is the edit button coming?
There needs to be an edit button, because you know what? When you post something and you get a bunch of likes and reshares, and then you have to delete it in order to be able to correct your stupid spelling mistake or whatever, like that's not a good feature, because you lose all the benefits of having retweets and that. We have the same problem in YouTube. If we make an error on one of our YouTube videos and I want to edit it and repost it, we would lose all the features of people liking or all our views. So yeah, an edit feature would be lovely.
Yeah. Well, in addition to that, he said he's going to open source the algorithms, and hopefully that will increase people's trust in what they're seeing. And he's going to work to defeat spam bots by, quote, authenticating all humans. Which is kind of a creepy way of saying that.
Why would he open source the algorithm? Do people know what that means?
I don't know. Do they? People like to throw open source around.
Yeah, I mean, it means that basically the code will be shown so that we can kind of figure out what an algorithm is, what kind of algorithm is being used. An algorithm is basically a formula in which people or AI determines something. And in this case, it's usually how things are shared and begin trending. So I think...
Yeah, people go on at length about the YouTube algorithm and sort of the... trying to determine the nuances of how it works. So
yeah, well, there's a thing called shadow banning. People were just basically not being approved by the algorithm because of certain tweets or beliefs or whatever their affiliations are, and that is an issue we've often wondered about with the algorithm. So if he makes it open source, we will kind of know, unless they go and sabotage the algorithm right now, which I was alluding to when I said that a lot more conservatives were getting likes and a lot of left-leaning individuals on Twitter were losing likes. Why do you think that is? Because maybe current ownership, before it transferred over, was actually suggesting that we fix the algorithm into something more equal, and this is what we're seeing from the evidence of the new views and tweets and that.
Well, he says his belief is that Twitter has tremendous potential, and he looks forward to working with the company to unlock it. All of this just leaves me with one question, and you guys can tell me your thoughts down below. How does one protect free speech while avoiding it turning into a massive free-for-all of conflict and bickering. Where do we draw that line? Let me know what you think.
Well, I want to answer this question.
Then please answer it.
No one's stopping you.
Yeah, the issue with your question, I find, is how do we stop it from basically creating conflict, and how do we avoid conflict? Well, I don't know if we really can, because no matter what, if we have individuals with differing opinions and beliefs, there's going to be some form of tension, hopefully not animosity, but it can lead to conflict. Really and truly, the best way to have free speech without conflict is to have mature, responsible individuals that are tolerant of each other. But we have not so mature people in society, and what is going to occur is free speech will offend people. And kind of that is somebody's right,
What is somebody's right?
To say something offensive. You can say things as long as they're not hurtful in an actual way where you would call upon violence on someone, which would be illegal. Okay? But you know what? There is certain words in society that aren't illegal to use, but they're frowned upon. Okay? Swear words and other racial slurs. Okay? Should it be illegal for someone to say those words? Or should we have free speech?
That's a can of worms right there.
Yeah.
I suppose it shouldn't be illegal, but people should have some decency.
And a lot of mature people do. And that's the point I'm making here. You know what? Allow people to say what they want if it's not illegal and hurtful. And you're not going to allow people to call violence on people, I can't say to someone, like, we're going to go do harm to Michael Lee. I mean, like, that's illegal, right?
Why is he picking on me all the time?
Michael Lee's my good friend, and we pick on each other.
And you want to do harm to him, I imagine he'll probably respond by busting your kneecap.
You pick on me sometimes, most times. Anyways, it's not what this is about.
Well, maybe he'll bust both kneecaps. Who knows?
Depends on how he wants to attack.
Yeah. You'll just have to tune in to find out how many kneecaps Josh loses.
The next episode of Leaks.
But the reality is, I mean, it could turn into bullying if you're on Twitter, but it's not the same as IRL. Because, yeah, in real life, people.
Thank you.
Oh, God. I didn't even know that.
Oh.
Yeah. Because, you know what? On Twitter, if somebody is saying things that you don't like, you do not have to follow them. And you can block people on social media. And why not just do that? Why be so concerned about somebody and keep allowing them to have content that you really don't want to hear? What's the deal with that?
Great questions, Josh. Great questions. But you know what? Well, I want to talk about our fantastic Prime Minister that you all know we're a big fan of him around here, right? Anyways, he has gone out and generously done what is required of him by the law, and he is announcing an inquiry into his own and his government's use of the Emergencies Act, which is, in fact, a part of the act that if it's used, an inquiry has to be announced within 60 days of revocation of said act. So he's not really doing anything special for us here.
But he's waiting till the last possible day to announce this inquiry.
Yeah, he's essentially just doing what's required of him. The inquiry will be led by Ontario Court of Appeals Judge Justice Paul Rouleau. And they've given it a fancy name. They're calling it the Public Order Emergency Commission. So, good for them on that. Rouleau his response to this was essentially saying that he is committed to ensuring that the process is as open and transparent as possible, recognizing tight timelines for reporting for the reporting that is imposed by the Emergency Act. So, pretty generic statement there saying that he'll do it and he'll do it on time. which is good. I'm going to put the question to you, Josh, or you, Michael. Either one of you chime in here. This government is essentially examining their own use of an act that was actually questioned by many people and organizations. How likely do you think they are to come out and arrive at a conclusion that they inappropriately did this?
It's my understanding that an inquiry is done by House committees based by the judiciary here, the judge you were talking about, and basically all parties can get involved in the inquiry and ask the questions that they really need to ask. So there is going to be some of the opposition asking questions into this inquiry, but what is the mandate of this inquiry? Do we know?
We do, actually. I'm glad you asked. The mandate is to look into the circumstances of why the act was declared, the evolution of the convoy, the police response, the economic impact of the blockades, the funding of the protests, and the disinformation that may have fueled them. So there's a lot to unpack there. It's a pretty wide grouping of topics that fall under the mandate of this inquiry.
So firstly, what you said there is to look into the circumstances of why the act was declared. Why the act was declared is the key point I'm going to make there. Why is not the question I think they need to be asking. I think what they need to be asking is,
was it appropriate?
Was it appropriate? Was it a proper legal response? Did we have actual means in which the police could have used the current law? Was it appropriate is a better question, not why was it done. I think we know why it was done, but really, I don't think that's the appropriate question right off the hop for this mandate. I mean, hopefully this judge may look at this situation differently and look into some legality, because it's my understanding that the reason that this act did not pass the Senate, which it would have had to be fully implemented, was a lot of the senators questioned whether this was the appropriate use of the act. So, going on to the second point there, the evolution of the convoy and police response. Okay, those are all fair points that we should look at, because, you know, it was the reason that they enacted the Emergencies Act, because of the protest that occurred. What I'm wondering is, are we actually going to get the complete details of the investigation that were occurring into any of the situation that happened on? I suppose this mandate was like technically across Canada, but they were trying to implement it.
The act?
Yeah.
The act was applied to the entire country, yes.
Yeah, but they were trying to implement it more directly on certain areas. But the point I'm wondering is, the evolution of the convoy, will we actually see any legality, any criminality that was suggested by the RCMP or any police's forces that were being investigated, right? That's what I'm wondering, because, well, what I'm questioning most is the criminality of the actual event and whether or not laws that were currently in place could have been effective and efficient in dealing with this, and whether the legality of introducing the Emergencies Act was absolutely necessary. I don't know how studying the evolution of the convoy will play into a positive or a negative in determining the actual justification for enacting the Emergencies Act. I just do not see
presumably the evolution of the convoy doesn't really matter. It's how
if it was actually criminal,
what was
and
it,
that can be proven.
What was it at the time that the act was declared?
Yes,
it doesn't matter how it started out.
That's a good point. It really doesn't matter. It matters whether we had the proper laws and if they were efficient enough and if this Emergencies Act was justifiable, which some people say it was not necessary, but I don't know. I don't know what this inquiry is going to say. Well, I'll be interested to see when it's completed.
Yeah, there's heavy debate on that. And the whole point is to hopefully help us reach some kind of conclusion on that.
So, guys, I want to say something else because I heard this on the radio today and it really piqued my interest. It's not the most interesting thing when you usually hear StatsCan data. But this one, if you think about it a little bit, and we're going to unpack it here, Canada's working population is the oldest it's ever been. What does that mean to you, Adam, when you hear that?
Well, it means that the portion of the population that tends to get up every day and go to a job, the average age of that person is obviously the highest it has been ever.
Yeah, so all those boomers and older Gen Xers that are like 55 plus and are reaching retirement ages are going to be, well, who knows if they're going to retire sooner or work a little longer, because it seems people are going to
hang on.
Oh, they got to hang on. I mean, you got to pay the Trudeau taxes.
So they got to pay the third mortgage and afford their fifth boat.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the point is, those guys are going to be working a little longer, and a lot of them, they ain't going to be working, and that means job opportunities, doesn't it?
Well, hopefully. I know a number of people who have some interesting thoughts on this topic. But yeah, just to kind of lend some support to what you're saying there, we're currently at a situation now where a larger share of the population aged 55 to 64, a larger share of the working population is aged 55 to 64. And that's significantly larger than those entering the workforce, generally aged between, I believe, 15 and 24. So that's a very kind of a new situation for us. And yeah, it's definitely factoring into the current labor shortage or great, part of the great resignation, as you've heard it probably referred to. So that's definitely creating some opportunities, maybe some higher wages to go along with our wonderful inflation. But yeah, it's definitely a new situation.
I gotta say, when I hear this, I'm thinking of the positive that, there'll be more job opportunities and job openings. Unfortunately, that means labor will be less, and maybe a little bit is not going to get done. But you know what that might mean? It might mean that some of the payments and benefits that are paid into by companies will lessen because you'll have less employees in some institutions and businesses, with those guys retiring and a lot of jobs opening up. If those jobs aren't being filled, you know what? That's going to cause a problem. And you know what that problem is? You and I have experienced it, Adam. It means that those two guys that retired and went their own way, this means we're going to do their work and we ain't going to get paid extra.
No, we're not. And it's going to be happening soon because more than 1 in 5 working adults is now nearing retirement age.
And then we'll just pay their taxes and their benefits when they retire, and
their pensions will pay.
So yeah, we're gonna pay for their pensions. And I have to say, if you're in that situation where you have the opportunity to fill in for someone that is creating a shortage, realize that this is a benefit for the employee. Ask for more money. Ask for a raise, because there's going to be more job opportunities coming up for skilled millennials that are already in the workforce, and take those opportunities.
Ask for other benefits too. Like if it's a job where you can work from home and you like working from home, you ask to work from home. Lots of companies are now set up to be able to handle this as a result of recent events. So, perks like that kind of thing, if that's what you like, ask for it.
Sick days. Ask for your sick days.
Yeah, definitely. Paid sick days.
We need those in Canada for lower income jobs and careers,
Service industry people,
Yep.
they often don't enjoy those benefits. I think what we can safely say is, the single most significant driver of Canada's aging population is the ongoing retirement of the baby boomers. And for those who need clarification on specifically what a boomer is, they are Canadians that were born between 1946 and 1965.
Not necessarily Canadians, but yes, it's a generation of people. But yeah, we know who boomers are because they're okay.
Right. They are. And their retirement has been going on now for some of the oldest ones since 2011. So we're still ramping up on this. This is going to actually become worse.
Mike Lee says it's dry and he's telling us to move on.
All right. The one specific to Manitoba.
You're talking about the water that was sewage that went into the lake, into the river?
It was only 60 million liters.
Oh, that's just not. That's a glass of water.
Yeah.
60 million liters of raw sewage here in Winnipeg went into the river this last weekend with that flooding?
Yeah. 60 million.
And that was just from Adam's house after he had skipped the dishes.
Well, go easy on that Mexican food. Well, are you a Manitoba homeowner?
Yes, that's me.
Well, do you want to hear the latest news?
Yeah, it might be good for me.
It might be. Do you like paying more for services that are kind of considered day-to-day services that everyone needs?
No.
Well, I'm glad you are, because have I got news for you? You're about to start paying 20.5% more for natural gas for your house.
% more to keep my house warm.
To keep your house warm.
The approximately 8 months that I pay for natural gas?
Yeah, it's only 20.5%, so it's not like it's a huge increase. It kind of is.
Well, that's news that I don't like.
Yeah. So, that's great. That's going to happen, and it's going to cost a typical household an extra $150 a year.
Who do I blame this on?
Well, you could blame it on Heather Stephenson, but she wouldn't be there to be blamed.
Can I blame it on Russia, and can I blame it on the green tax or the green emissions tax that we have coming up here? Was that the carbon tax? Can I blame it on all those things?
You can.
All right, that's what I'm doing.
They're all playing a role in that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for making my life more expensive.
And I even wrote down here exactly what the cost was and what it's going to go to. And I'm going to do you all the favor of not mentioning that, because that just sounds kind of boring. Well, I got a little something for all the gamers out there, or at least half of them, third of them, some of them. If you are the owner of a PlayStation 5 and you like to play games on it, and you've been looking at those guys with their Xboxes and their computers, enjoying that Microsoft Game Pass and all those hundreds of games that they get for a monthly fee, kind of like Netflix style sort of service. Well, Sony's got the answer, and it's coming your way. They are expanding PlayStation Plus to compete with Game Pass, and they have just announced the Canadian pricing. There's going to be 3 tiers. And they're going to range from about $12 a month all the way up to $22 a month for the premium tier with all the bells and whistles. If you've already been paying for PlayStation Plus, then essentially nothing changes for you. You're going to continue to have online multiplayer and cloud saves, and you'll receive some free games every month. The name of this is just going to change to PlayStation Plus Essential. So you get an extra free word in there. At least you get something. But if that's not enough for you, you can go with PlayStation Plus Extra, because it's more than essential. It's extra. And this one will run you $18 a month, and it gives you everything the essential package does, and then adds up to as Sony puts it, up to 400 first and third party PS4 and PS5 games. So that's a nice little extra that they're going to throw in there. 400 games is quite a few. So hopefully some good selection. But if that's still not what you're looking for, then you can come in at their PS Plus premium tier for $22 a month. It's a little bit more, but it's still not a complete break of the bank. And it'll give you everything that's in those first 2 tiers. And then they're going to add up to 340 additional games, which they've already added 400 in the last one. So we're talking about a lot of games at this point. And these games will include PS3, PS2, PS1, as well as PSP games, according to Sony. They're also going to give you cloud streaming for PS1, PS2, PSP, and PS4 games that come along with the extra and premium tiers. And then in addition to that, they're going to give you time-limited game trials. I don't really know why they would limit something like that to the premium tier. It seems like it would be beneficial to allow that one across all of them, but that's what they're going to do. And Sony is currently targeting the launch date for this in the US and Canada to be June 13th of this year. So big news for PS5 owners. I guess we'll just have to see how this goes. So Musk buys Twitter, the government is pondering itself, and Canada's population is old. It's been an interesting week here at LeakSpec, so we'd love to hear from you on your thoughts down below or in the comment section.
And we're also on Facebook, so if you are on Facebook like the billions of people that are, go ahead and search LeakSpec and give us a follow.